Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined today by the great Schuyler Fisk. Schuyler, thank you for joining me on Yo, That's My Jawn.
Oh, my pleasure. How's it going?
It's going really good, especially since we get to talk because so I like to tell my guests in the front of every interview that I do a little connective piece that I have with them. And for you, okay, like I was familiar with you. I was a big Snow Day fan, okay. I liked a Little Orange County, but what blew me away when you first like became a force in my pop culture radar was I used to have an acoustic duo with a friend of mine named Jenna. We did male female vocals, and sometime around 2006 2007 at a rehearsal she presented me with this song Paperweight, and it blew me away. Okay, and we used to cover it, not as well, but we used to cover it, and it became one of my favorite songs. As a matter of fact, the line when you guys harmonize on every line, you say think I should write down, absolutely melts me still to this day, to the point where I have another music discovery podcast where every week we bring an old song and a new song to kind of present to the audience. I just brought Paperweight like 2 weeks ago, and then somehow this popped up. So everything happens for a reason, is what it
Yeah,
is.
in the stars. That's cool. Oh, thank you.
It's the best. So tell my listeners a little bit about yourself growing up. Like where did you grow up when you were a little kid?
I grew up in Virginia and yeah, I was always drawn to music and the performing arts and well, a lot of things. As a kid, I kind of explored a lot of, you know, things. But yeah, I love to sing, I love to act, and I did a lot of musical theater growing up. And I remember, like wanting to be a singer and feeling like I can't just bust into song anywhere. I have to like have an instrument. And then I was like, okay, I got to get an instrument. So I got a guitar because that seemed like the easiest thing to carry around with me. And then I was like, well, I don't know how to play any songs. So I guess I'm gonna have to start writing them. I think my mom taught me three chords, which is all I needed to get going, writing. And then I could like, take my guitar and play songs for people, which was, yeah, how I kind of got into that.
That's
I don't
incredible.
know if that was the question, but
No, that's exactly, yeah. What type of music were you listening to back then? I know it's like you're a kid and all, but
gosh, growing up, I listened to all sorts of stuff, but a lot of things, of course, were things that my parents were listening to or that they introduced to me. So I listened to a lot of the Beatles, listened to Bonnie Raitt, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Bob Dylan, um, Linda Ronstadt, uh, you know, all
yeah.
those good ones. Um, so yeah, a lot of influences. Joni Mitchell, yeah, the list goes on and on, but
For sure.
Tom
Uh,
Petty.
oh, of course, of course. The so when you were younger, would you say you were more driven towards music or more driven towards acting and or just kind of all encompassing?
I was into all of it, but what I liked about music, and what I like about music is was something that I could do on my own, like independent from anything or anyone else, like with acting, whether I was in a play or now doing a series or a film, that's something that like this whole other machine has to get behind. And so, especially when I got older and was really pursuing my acting career, I never really sought out to be a musician or to like, do that as a career. It was just something I loved to do for fun. But when I was living in LA and in between acting jobs, there was just so much downtime that I just had time I just poured myself into music. And then I feel like that just sort of accidentally became a career.
Yeah.
One I'm very grateful for. But it wasn't something that I like thought like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be a singer-songwriter and release records and people will hear them. And it still blows my mind that like, well, like, the fact that you've not only heard my music, but you've covered my music is like, it's an incredible gift to feel that like you can, I don't know, reach somebody in that way. It's like kind of blows my mind.
For
So
sure. I mean, like, like I'm going to get lost in music every once in a while here, but prepping to do this interview and stuff like that, I went back and revisited We Could Be All Right. And like it's another what I feel underrated gem because like Not Gonna Leave Here Without You has been on constant repeat over the weekend as I was like getting ready to do this. So like it's amazing to me that there was that period of time where you kind of stopped acting to focus on music, but it seems like around that time of this album, you were also doing like Sam and Kate and stuff like that. So like did you find a way to find balance between the music and the acting or
I feel like I'm still searching for that balance, and I kind of just have sort of gone with whatever was happening in the moment. But I do find that like I'm inspired the more I'm being creative, whether that's acting or music, like the more inspired I am. Like the art begets the art or the creativity begets the creativity. Um so and We Could Be All Right is a record that, sort of I was doing, COVID was happening. And so like it was a record that I'd been writing and trying to get finished for some time. And then it all kind of like happened right around the Sam and Kate time, which was so exciting. So fun to like put out into the world. But it took a long time to get out there. Um, so I almost like at times forgot, like, oh yeah, people are gonna actually hear this. It's like, but anyway, yeah.
well, if I can put a suggestion in, just press a vinyl of that. Even if it's only like 10 copies, I'll take one.
Okay.
So
Noted.
I just think it would sound really good on vinyl. That's all.
I think
Like
you're
it's
right. I agree.
you
It
know,
almost happened, but it's not too late.
well,
It was so
I'm
close. I mean, I have all the vinyl artwork. I'll just say that.
okay.
Bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like don't get my hopes up.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay.
don't tease me. Don't threaten me with a good time. So you kind of start acting. What 13 was the Babysitters Club?
I was 11 when we filmed that.
It's crazy. That's crazy to
Yeah,
me.
that's
Like,
crazy.
what was that like as a kid to like kind of be on a set working? Like to, because obviously sets were in your childhood, I'm going to guess.
It was
But
amazing. Yes, because I had grown up, my mom is an actress and I would visit her on set. I felt very comfortable on set, going to visit set. Everyone was always so nice. I remember always like playing in the hair and makeup trailer and the wardrobe trailer, and they would like let me dress up. And it was just like it felt like a second home to me. It was very comfortable. Like it's funny now that as an 11-year-old, like the smell of coffee and cigarettes on set was like, oh, that's so familiar and nice, because anyway, but I growing up, I saw other children playing my mom's kids, and I wanted to be, I was a performer, I wanted to be an actress, I was doing theater, and I just was like, Mom, I could do it, I could do this, I know how to be your kid, I am your kid, like I please let me do it, please let me do it. And she, did not want me to get into acting, in that way too early. And but I was begging her and begging her. And so when I finally got the opportunity to be in a movie, I was just like, I've arrived. All my dreams are coming true. This is heaven. I've always wanted this. I probably manifested it actually, now that I'm, yeah, thinking about it.
that's incredible. Going after that, like I just kind of mentioned it earlier, but I did a very weird jump around thing prepping for this because I was just like, let's just go from different periods and stuff like that. So I rewatched Snow Day, okay, which still brings me as much joy as it did when I was a kid. And I say a kid, I was in college, so I don't know what kid I'm pretending to be, but it
You're a
feels
kid in
like
college.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
but it what's weird to me about it is just how many like heavy hitters are in that movie, like yeah, Chris Elliott, Chevy Chase, Gene Smart, like just people who are just like and it
Don't
still
forget Chili from TLC.
and Chili, which I completely forgot about until it came on, and then I like had to quick jump on IMDb. I was like, I swear that's Chili from and then but like it's weird to me that it's kind of I don't want to say like it's a little secret, but it feels like a little film that time forgot. And
Yeah.
and I like and I think one of the things that stood out to me rewatching it is, do you think kids will ever have snow days again? Like now that virtual exists, it almost feels like this movie is a time period or a time capsule that might just never exist again.
I know. It's a different time. It's so much has changed. It's wild. It's really crazy.
It's it's
I
it's
don't know. That's
it's
a great, yeah.
like it really like the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, well, you would just have to open your school laptop and just work from home, I guess, like even Jean Smart's character working from home
Yeah,
seems like a
yeah,
chore, which would be nothing, her patching into a meeting or something. It's funny to watch with 2024 eyes.
yeah, yeah, totally.
So that was one of the things I watched. The other thing, like I said, I didn't even know this is how horribly out of touch I am. I didn't even know Sam and Kate existed, and it blew me away because it's exactly the kind of film that I've kind of been missing in my life for a few years, and I like that kind of mid-level indie film just feels like another lost relic in this kind of era of streaming and stuff like that. Was it a good I gotta think it's a good experience. I mean, you worked with your mother,
Yeah.
and working like just kind of the families, Dustin and his son as well, like that had to have been a very interesting, very warming experience to do.
It was so great. It was so fun on so many levels. It was like coming out of COVID, getting to have this collaborative experience to get to work with my mom. Jake Hoffman is a dear old friend of mine from like when I moved out to LA in my early 20s. So there was a lot of like trust there. And I had met Dustin a few times through Jake before. So I didn't know him well going into it, but like I felt like I mean, I obviously have a lot of respect for all of them, but I felt safe and it felt like comfortable and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun and um yeah, a really special experience, so like a real one of a kind experience. And I agree, there's something like throwback about it. Feels like from another time in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, like those are kind of the I had a small run of trying to be a filmmaker, and those were the kind of films I was always drawn to. Like I told a friend of mine, I was like, you know what it feels like to me? It feels like whenever in like mid to late 90s, whenever there would be like a US remake of like a French film. Like that which
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like how I wanted to describe it to him, because I was like, it kind of has the pacing and the tempo of something that wouldn't play on like the multiplex or something like that. It has that feeling of kind of that art film that I miss, like I said,
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
So currently, and the thing that brought us together is you're now a member of the Chicken Sisters show, launching on Hallmark Plus on September 10th. And I got to tell you, okay, just by looking at me, I'm sure you can guess this, that I'm not necessarily in the target demo for a Hallmark film, right? Or a Hallmark series, but the screener, I got to watch some of the screeners, and within maybe 5-10 minutes I was hooked, and then I burned through them, and now I need more. And I kind of feel like this was a cruel trick, because we were given the first 3 episodes
Now
and it
you have
ends
to
on a cliffhanger.
subscribe.
Well, now I have
Sorry.
to say
Yeah.
that's it. I knew you guys knew what you were doing, but this project is absolutely fantastic. Tell the listeners a little bit about it and how you came aboard.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. It's so exciting that some people have now gotten to see some of it. It's a really special show and I'm so proud to be a part of it. And I think I think it will surprise people that like I think men will really love it. It's got a lot to offer and it's not your it has a lot of the things that you would expect with a Hallmark show, but it also like has a lot of things you wouldn't expect. It pushes a lot of boundaries and it covers a lot of like timely topics. And I think that it's really smart and it's really funny and it's really a ride. And yeah, it's a show about a small town, Merrimack, and I play Amanda, who I grew up. So there's a 100-year-old rivalry in the town of these two chicken restaurants, and I grew up as a Mimi's girl. My mom and her side of the family, they were the family that had the Mimi's chicken restaurant, and then I marry into the family of the Hilliers who have the other chicken restaurant called Franny's. And so I'm sort of, my mom disowns me basically when I choose the other side. And anyway, a reality show comes to town and to do a kitchen clash episode on these two chicken restaurants of who's better, and they're going to win all this money, whoever wins. And it really brings a storm to our town and to all of our lives. A reality show comes and like puts the magnifying glass on all the like little things that are wrong with everyone's lives, and it blows them up. And so it's a really fun ride, and it's yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, it's I think one of the things that I find really fascinating is first of all, it's a all-star cast. Like you just got power hitters in every position. You got Leah Thompson, you got Wendy Malick, and like I gotta say, one of the things that I think is a strength of this show is that every character has a moment where they do something entirely unlikable, except for the fact that everybody plays it so well that you can't like stay mad at them somehow. Like it's it's this weird like balance of it feels like real people, I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
getting at, which is, that kind of like they do kind of shitty things, but
Yeah.
also you still love them. It feels like
Yeah,
like a
which feels
family.
like, that's life, right? We're all just human, you know, we're not perfect. We're gonna make mistakes. I certainly have many regrettable moments in my life, and you just have to figure out how to reckon with that and move forward. And yeah, I love that. I love that like the characters are so flawed, and there are these things that they do, and you're like, why? Don't do that, or why are you doing that? Um, but yeah, makes for great TV.
I will, though, also say that I said I bounced around all over the place in my prep, watching Snow Day, and then seeing you play a character who has a daughter that's supposed to be around the same age as your character in Snow
Yeah,
Day, to really blew my
time.
mind. Like,
Yeah, blows my mind too. Like I'm definitely not old enough. Oh, I guess I am.
well, that was the literal math I was doing in my head watching it. I was like, she's not old enough to have a kid this old.
Okay,
Like,
this is some good trivia for you. On the set of the Chicken Sisters, one of our ADs, Dale, was in Snow Day as at Claire's house, like in the lining up for when Chuck Wheeler breaks up with Claire and like all the men line up outside her door. Anyway, he was there and he was in it. He like came up to me. He's like, I don't know if you'll remember me, and I don't even know if we met, but I was in that scene. I'm like, what?
that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible. That's a see now you're giving me the good stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but no, like I think one of the other things about the show and kind of the Hallmark network is that like it's kind of presenting, I would say like the kind of a small town, kind of the things that kind of get overlooked. And like, what I was kind of alluding to is that these all feel like characters I know. Like I'm sure it's the suburb of Philadelphia, but whatever, it's a smaller town. We only
Yeah.
had one traffic light, like
That
but
counts.
but exactly, right? But I really feel like the character development, and then like I said, the portrayals, it kind of gives something that is kind of missing in a lot of kind of quirky, cynical television, which is also stuff I love. Like I'm not to downplay it, but you need a balance if
Yeah.
you but what I noticed was, and I haven't read the Chicken Sisters novel, but it seems like there are some character changes and some character additions and stuff like that. Can you speak to that at all? I guess like what was changed for the series that kind of didn't work or translating it from novel to book or to TV.
Yeah, there were a lot of changes, and I feel like Annie Mabane, who's our showrunner and creator, she did a great job of like really staying fairly true to the book, but also sort of like adapting it, and I think just like the perfect way. she there's like a bunch of little Easter eggs, like little things that happen throughout the book that are sort of sprinkled in the show in a different way. I don't know how to explain it, but like whether it's just names that come up that were I'm trying to think specifically. Um one big change is that in the book, Frank, my Amanda's husband, has passed, so uh, he is not in the book as he appears in the show because he is not passed in the show, um, and so that's a big one.
Yeah.
And uh, in the show, the original Franny's and Mimi's are not sisters. They were friends that are like sisters, but in the book they were sisters. So like if you really like in the book, there's it's not I guess it's like way, way, way back, like so, but they are sort of related, these two people that marry each other.
Okay. Yeah. I
Oh,
get it.
they just made it so it's not a lot that's not
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah. Um,
Um, sure. One of the
incest,
things,
just yeah, a little.
uh-huh, uh-huh. One of the things, and this is a minor spoiler in the first episode, and I can cut this if need be. And I can even talk around it without being specific, but hoarding comes up in this show. And then there's hoarding in Sam and Kate. Okay. And much like seeing a young you be a parent of someone and that shock, the shock of two hoarding plots, mostly because you can't see it behind these curtains. I'm not a hoarder, but I have tendencies, and I can
I
see
mean,
how
don't
it
we
gets
all
out
a
of
little bit? Yeah.
I can see how it gets out of control.
Huh.
But it's one of those things that like I feel like is handled very well in this show, not just from the hoarding character standpoint, but also those it affects. And same thing with Sam and Kate. It, did you do any? I don't know if you did any research into any of this, or if you know anybody with any tendencies, but like, you've done a very good job, is I guess what I'm getting at in both of these.
Yeah, I think, it's funny because hoarding is something like I never really thought too much about. I mean, you think about it and you're like, oh, that's crazy. And they have that, bunch of reality shows on it and everything. But I hadn't really like taken a deeper dive into it. But when Sam and Kate came up, um, I really did a lot of research on it and read about, you know, well, it can be triggered by a lot of things, and everyone has their own experience and not all hoarders are the same or whatever. But it's very interesting, it's like it's very mental and coping mechanism and all sorts of stuff. And it really does, affect people's lives like in a major
Yeah.
way and their loved ones. And um, so yeah, it's funny because it did come up twice in my life. And so it's yeah, something that I've definitely like done a lot of research on.
Yeah, I used to work for a used and rare book reseller, and we used to go clean out houses and stuff like that. And
Wow.
like I've been in a house where like, floor to wall had to build a path to kind of clear
Yeah.
this place out. And it's just really like it's sad, but also like I guess like calling attention to it and kind of bringing people's awareness to it without it being some kind of a joke or even kind of the reality shows. I feel like kind of get a little kind of gross with it and all, but like I feel like the way you in both the show and in the movie you guys handled it is that kind of like bringing awareness without kind of it being exploitive, I guess is what I'm looking at
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, and you understand. I mean, you understand it in a way, like especially in the show. And by the way, when we were filming in Gus's house, it just makes you feel. I don't know. It makes you feel a little bit crazy when you're in there. You feel claustrophobic. You feel all sorts of things, and I think that was like. I mean, the art department did an incredible job with it because we were obviously safe, but there was no room to breathe in there. And like they'd be like, "How do we fit the camera in this corner with all this stuff?" It was like crazy. But but yeah, like you just learned so much about Gus's character and how she's alienated her children because of this stuff, and but it's not something she wants to do. And I don't know. I think it's yeah, it's an important part of her journey,
Yeah, for sure.
understanding
For
all of these
sure.
characters.
And like I said, it's like it's really kind of beautiful, kind of bringing it to light like this. The tonal shift, but I like to do this little questionnaire I put together. It's called the Jawntlet. All right. And it's made up of two sections. The first one's called the one hit wonders, and it's just
Okay.
pitting people against each other, and they're like favorites. So whoever you prefer, there are no wrong answers to this, so you don't have to overthink it. But
Okay.
number one, Billy Joel or Elton John? Who do you prefer?
Oh my God. That's, I don't know. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go Billy Joel.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Debbie Harry or Joan Jett?
My God, there are no right answers. They're all wrong answers. Ugh, Debbie Harry.
Okay, okay. Aretha Franklin
Like,
or Tina?
okay.
Right? It's tough.
Yeah,
It's
I
tough.
know.
Aretha Franklin or Tina Turner?
This is so hard. Oh, Tina Turner.
Okay, I like it. Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Oh my God. Nirvana.
Okay, okay. Janis Joplin or Stevie Nicks?
Stevie Nicks.
All right. Beatles or the Stones?
Beatles.
And then the last standard one, Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven?
Oh my God. I, I don't know. I don't know.
That's a valid answer. You can.
Heaven? I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do one every once in a while. I like to throw a guest specific one just to kind of freshen things up. And this one of them might be a little biased, but no heat, no heat. Dolly Parton or Loretta Lynn?
Oh my gosh. All of the above.
Okay. Yeah. I'll accept it. I'll accept
I
it.
mean, Loretta is in my heart, so if I had to pick, it would be her. But I
Oh,
love Dolly.
for sure. For sure. This second section is called the top 10 countdown. In this, we use the word Jawn, as we do in Philadelphia to mean whatever you want it to be. I don't know if you're familiar with the word Jawn, but essentially it's like, if you like something, you'd be like, oh, that's my Jawn, kind of like that's my jam almost,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
but more versatile, if you will.
Okay.
So it can be whatever you want it to be. Number one, what was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you were obsessed with when you were a kid?
Oh man. That's a good question. I need to call my mom and ask her. Um, First thing I was obsessed with was music.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Number two, what's your current Jawn? What are you into right now?
Sushi.
Yeah. Do
I'm
you have a
hungry.
favorite role?
I like I just like the nigiri. Like I like a omakase situation.
Hell yeah. I'm in it. I'm in it. Number three, what was your first concert, first live show you ever saw?
It was actually Loretta Lynn.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Number four, who was your last concert, last show you saw?
The last show I saw was Vampire Weekend.
Oh, very nice. Where at?
I saw it while we were filming in Canada, in Vancouver,
Oh, that's
at
awesome.
in Burnaby. Yeah.
So cool. Number five, what has been your favorite concert, best live show you ever saw?
Man, I've seen some really great concerts. One that's really high up there. I saw Tom Petty's last concert at
Oh
the
my goodness.
festival. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It was
incredible.
great, great show. Great.
Uh,
I just was like, he, yeah.
That's someone who I never saw live other than one song. A friend of mine, I was at an outdoor show, got in a fight in the lawn, and we all got kicked out because he got in the
Oh
fight.
man,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it's one of those shows, we all love Tom Petty. I mean, he's incredible, but you don't realize how many of us all like they're all hits. Like it's like
Hmm.
one after the other. You're like, oh yeah, that one. Oh yeah, no, I love that one. You know all the words and like it's incredible. Yeah, he's
Yeah. Absolutely missed.
mhm.
Number six, who have you never seen live that you wish you would have? They can be living or dead.
The Beatles.
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
mean,
The I don't are you familiar with the band The Hooters? They were like an 80s pop band. They had like a song All You Zombies or And We Danced. They played
no.
Live Aid. They were the band that
Okay.
opened the Philadelphia side of Live Aid. But Eric Bazillion is the one of the lead singers. They kind of him and Rob Hyman kind of trade off. Also co-wrote a bunch of Cyndi Lauper's first album.
Okay, right on.
But he was on the show, and his answer for his first concert was the Beatles. And I was like, how do you ever go to another show after that? Like, yeah,
What do you have to
absolutely.
say about that?
He said it was absolutely incredible, like just everything you would imagine. Just pandemonium in the audience, and the music was
Wow.
incredible. Yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah.
Number seven, name an unappreciated John, something you wish people paid more attention to.
Uh, I think like really listening to what younger people, like the younger generation feels about things, because I think that, um, I don't know, sometimes like it's easy to be like, oh, they're young or whatever, but they're what's next, and I think to be checked in on to have, I don't know. I don't know.
No, that's a beautiful answer. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Especially listening because like that's been a big theme for me lately, which is I feel like we don't listen anymore. I kind of said this in an episode earlier that like with social media, I feel like everybody's like got something to say, but I don't know who's receiving all of this information.
Yeah,
Like it's so I'm trying to listen a little more myself.
yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. Trying to make that change, starting with the man in the mirror. Number eight, what's your favorite album?
I don't know. I mean, I have like a spot for Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band because driving to school in the mornings, my dad had that in the CD player. And it's so funny because the Beatles in general, like I thought that was like just a little band that my dad knew. I remember people being like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "Oh, you wouldn't know them." They're like, "What? Who?" And I'm like, It's like something my dad listens to. They're called the Beatles." And people are like, "What? We know the Beatles." And I'm like, "You do? What?" And then I like realized my dad was pretty cool. And I don't know. It was a funny realization. It's just like assumed that he was like some little, I don't know, niche thing that he was into.
It's awesome. That's a little band called the Beatles. You
But
might know
anyway,
them.
Sergeant Pepper's has like yeah. I don't know if
Good
that's
answer.
my favorite record of all time, but like it's just one that just, yeah,
It's a
reminds
perfect
me of a
answer.
specific time in my life,
For
especially
sure.
bonding with my dad. Yeah.
For sure. Number nine, name an artist whose output you'll consume anything they release.
Blake Mills.
Definitely. Definitely. Anything, just put a finger on it. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. The 10th and final of this. What is your favorite John of all time? Again, it can be anything, anything in the world.
I mean, my family.
Perfect. Perfect answer. So one of the other things before we wrap things up here that I just want to mention is Tom Swift Mystery Hunter. Holy crap. Like that's so cool. Like
Yeah.
that is so cool. How did that come about?
Actually, my good friend who I grew up with, Caroline Slaughter, she wrote and directed the podcast, and it was she's a brilliant writer, and she did another amazing podcast, very different, called Astray, that I was a fan of a few years ago. And she was working on this project, which she told me about, and this Tom Slick project, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the story. I couldn't believe that it was real. I was so into it. Like the more I learned about Tom Slick, the person's real person who really existed, and he was like a mystery hunter and a scientist and researcher, but also like they found out way later was doing all these covert op missions for the CIA. Incredible. Uh, like just yeah, she told me about it and I was freaking out. And then she's like, well, I've written this podcast and I'm writing this one character with you in mind. And I was like, what? Oh my God. And then I was so excited about it, but it felt like kind of a pipe dream, like, oh, that'll never happen. And then next thing you know, she's got this deal with iHeartRadio and she sends me the scripts for the episodes, all 8 of them, and I like lost my mind. They were so good, so juicy, and I couldn't stop reading them, and I couldn't believe that I had the opportunity to be a part of it. And anyway, we had so much fun recording it. I'm like beside myself that I'm in a podcast with Owen Wilson, and I'm just hoping that people love it, and then we can make a movie of it, and I can be in that. So just manifesting that. But no,
Well, that's what I was
it's
going to say. I hope so.
thrilling. And I hope people listen. It's really cool. True. It's under fiction in the podcasts because they have to say that. But that's true.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I have a possible long car ride ahead of me this week, and I was like, because I started it, and I was like, I will swallow all of this in 2 seconds if I don't pay attention and stop it
Right.
right now. Like but yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of getting caught up on that. It's incredible. So the Chicken Sisters is coming out September 10th with the launch of Hallmark Plus, and then on the 12th. It starts releasing every Thursday, 8 episodes. Any possibility of finding a way to continue this on outside of the novel, or is this eight and
Totally.
done?
I mean, from your lips to God's ears, I think it definitely lends itself towards many more seasons to come. So I hope that we get those and get to continue the story and continue these characters. And I hope people watch it and love it and want more because I do.
Me
So
too.
yeah.
Which feels weird to say as a
No, it makes me so happy. It's just so exciting. Thank you.
no, thank you, Skylar, so much for doing not just for doing this, not just for talking to me and letting me waste your time for a little bit here, but for everything you've done, acting, and more importantly, no offense, all of the music you've created, which I absolutely love, and I pray that we're gonna be all right is vinyl. So
Thank you. That means a lot to me that you've like listened and watched and like that's very cool. Thank you. I really appreciate it.